Okay. This is the biggest piece of uh, 3D patriarchal matrix conditioning that I am undoing within myself right now. Um, and that is this idea that I have to fit in a box. There's a million people out there telling you and me and everybody how to do things, what the right way is to do things, um, like how to get followers, how to make money, how to do these things. And I'm calling I'm calling bullshit on all of it. And I'm not saying that what people are saying is bullshit. I'm sure there's lots to what they're saying. But what I'm saying is you don't have to fit in a box. And that's what I'm deconditioning in myself right now, because there's this voice in my head that keeps saying, oh, you have to be a specific thing for your brand, and you have to communicate your brand in a certain way, all this stuff. And it's putting me in a box, and I don't like it. I don't function well inside of boxes. There's actually, let's see if I can get it. Okay. There's this picture of me with my dad from when I'm like a kid. Can you see it? Look, it's me. It's me busting out of a box. A globe, actually. It's a globe box. So, yeah, I don't belong in a box, and I don't think you do either, in my opinion. I don't think anyone really does, especially these days. So, I'm trying to, take every piece of advice I hear from people with a grain of salt, because people who, say that they have the answers to everything, it actually doesn't make sense, because that answer can't apply to every single person. And I'm talking specifically in my mind, what I'm thinking of right now is within business and within entrepreneurship and things like that. And this especially comes up when I'm browsing YouTube, because the common trend on this platform is to make your title of your video a command, basically, or make it seem like you have the answer to things. And I do that too. I've been experimenting with that, actually. I've been doing an experiment in my video titles to see how different forms fit, because I do think that choosing the title to a video is an art form. I've been experimenting with that. But it is something that I've noticed is that one trend with naming YouTube videos is making it sound like you have the answers to everything. And I can see why that is a trend, right? Because so many people out there are looking for answers. When so many answers live within them, they just don't believe that they are good enough to hold those truths within them, so they can't access them. And that is exactly what I'm experiencing these days. I am learning how to hear other people's experience and hear what they've learned. But it's really hard to learn something without your own experience, in my opinion. I can listen to things all day, but until I'm able to embody that learning, nothing, it's not really gonna work. So the reason that this all comes back to like me busting out of the box is because I feel like sometimes we think that if we listen to the things that like successful people have to say, or people who have achieved things that we want to achieve, if we just listen to what they have to say and follow exactly what they say, then we will get those same results, right? Like, that makes sense, I guess. Like A plus B equals C, right? And I guess that makes sense in some ways. Like, if you're like a similar personality type to that person who's giving the advice, if like what you are trying to accomplish is very similar to what they're trying to accomplish, maybe. But even then, everyone is different. So I think there's been this like belief in my mind, like it has been, I learned this in therapy the other day, that my brain has a tendency to see things as like a cause and effect. Like my brain is wired to think, oh, if I do what this person who has success is telling me to do, then I will succeed. And I'm learning that that's not always the case, because that person and me aren't the same person. We're not the same person. We don't have the same life experiences. So a lot of like what they have to say, I could probably benefit from. But what I'm deconditioning is taking what they say as like truth, or like the law, or like the way it is. And I'm creating my own truth from just like my own experience. And I'm hearing what they have to say as like suggestions. But no one can really tell you what's gonna work for you and what isn't. You kind of just have to like do the thing. I'm like hearing myself say this and I'm like, wow, I really need to take my own advice. That's how I know I must be channeling some inner wisdom from myself. You know, it's like when babies learn how to walk, they fall and get up and fall and get up and fall and get up. But no one can tell a baby how to walk. The parents can like encourage the baby to walk, but no one can tell the baby how to walk. The baby just has to learn how to do it through trial and error. And like, I've been through the ringer with trial and error, let me tell you, to the point where I stopped trying for a little bit because I was so exhausted. Yeah, I just think this is so like rooted, like why this is rooted in the patriarchal matrix is because many of us have been conditioned to believe that if you work hard and you go to school and you do this thing and you check all these boxes, then you will get success, you will get happiness, you will get, XYZ, whatever it is. And so that way of thinking, like for me personally, and maybe other people out there too, I'm sure, it was conditioned into me that if I do what people are telling me, like this, and this, if I do these things, then I will get this. And it's actually not like that. That's like a linear progression. Like I learned in therapy, it's like a cause and effect, but that's not actually how I live my life. It's more like this. And a lot of people like know that from like, you've probably seen people say like, the journey is not like this, it's like this to success or to whatever it is that you're trying to get to. And so like that is a conditioning that I'm like deprogramming. And the reason that it is related to fitting in a box is because I guess my brain and my subconscious associates fitting in a box to this cause and effect straight line. And that's not true. Like, our reality as we know it is completely transforming. And so with that, the old conditioning must die. And in that, like, we have to start believing in magic and believing in miracles. And like, I say that as someone who is like, you know, I'm teaching myself to believe in those things too. I've seen magic, you know, like I've seen magic, and that's why I call myself a witch. I've seen it happen. And I'm not just talking like sleight of hand illusion magicians. I'm talking like synchronicities that are undeniable. And so I think a lot of what like light work is leaning into those and creating more of them rather than just fitting in a box. Because the most amazing thing about light work and magic is that it bends your perception of what is possible. And when you bend your perception of what is possible, you can step into this flow where the universe can actually flow in a way that is to your highest good and highest benefit. And busting out of the box is my practice to get to that place, because that is a practice. Like, getting into that flow state and believing those things and believing that you can alchemize your life experience and watch the universe bend to your will, or I don't even want to, maybe I wouldn't say bend to your will, but like you could watch the universe like show up for you in reciprocity in the ways that you need when you need it. Believing in that is a practice, because the patriarchal matrix, colonialism, capitalism, all of those things have taught us the exact opposite. And it was part of the grand plan, right? Teach humans that they are not connected with nature and the divine flow of all things. And if we convince them of that, if we can convince them that they are separate from all of those things, then we can teach them that A plus B equals C, and that's it, end of story. And it's just not true. And that is what I am conditioning myself out of. So, that being said, I personally am going to try to remember this, and maybe I will listen to myself back, because often when I record things, I like say stuff and I'm like, wow, I need to listen to that again. I need to take my own advice. And so that's why I try to not tell people what to do at the end of these videos. I try to just like speak the truth as I see it, and then hold myself accountable to doing these things. So what I am going to do is remember that this cause and effect conditioning that I have is designed to take me away from my power. And anytime I fall into that, I'm going to be like, oh, nope, we're deconditioning the patriarchy. Okay, so anything is possible. I mean, DJT is the president of the United States, so literally anything is possible at this point, and there is no, I don't think there's any downside to being delusional about the fact that miracles could happen, or simply that things can happen for you in different ways than anyone tells you are the rules. There's no rules. Not really. I mean, there's certain rules within society, I guess, right? But like, there isn't really any rules. So find your truth, because it's your truth. It's not anybody else's. And take every piece of advice that you hear with a grain of salt, because in the end, it's not really about that person's truth or that person's truth, or your best friend's truth, or your partner's truth, or your mother's truth, or your brother's truth, or your sister's truth. Your life experience, it's about your truth. And deconditioning all of this brings you closer and closer to that truth, which in turn puts you into the flow of light that is the cyclical nature of the universe. And with that, I will end this message. Okay, bye.